Okay, it's about 5:38 in the morning. I kind of dragged the piles apart so I can keep it separate in my head. So anything that's here I'm taking, including the backpack. Anything that's over there I'm leaving. So I'm going to pack up the bed, and then I'm going to basically load everything back onto the trailer and just leave it. It's that way it's all together at least, and whatever. Yeah. You can see it's getting pretty light. The sun won't be up for almost an hour, I think, now. But it's light enough to see and be seen. I've got a little flicker light that I'll put on my backpack, little red one, but I can see enough to see what I'm running over. So, and we got a little bit of cloud cover, so that should make it a little bit cooler this morning. And I got to climb 3,000 feet, so it's going to be brutal. But after that, it'll be easy. I did figure out that the little solar charger does fit on the phone holder. Alright, it's about 4:45 in the morning on April 30th, which I think is a Saturday. I'm still trying to I can't quite see it. I don't want to do this. Haven't even started it, I'm already scared. That's a good way to be, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so it's pleasantly warm. I got a little bit of a breeze. I just put my sweats back on when I got out of the sleeping bag, but I slept without my sweats tonight. So that should, it's a sign it's not cold anymore. I was looking at the stars. Mars just came up. It's just starting to get a little bit of light in the sky. It probably doesn't show up yet. So Venus is just before sunrise, and Mars is about an hour before Venus. Lately, when you're sitting out here in the dark with nothing else to do, you start to figure these things out. Yeah. Mars is slightly red, so you can tell, and it's not consistent. I mean, 6 months from now it'll be different. I talked about stars a couple videos ago, and I got it completely wrong, so sorry about that. Get a star app if you're curious, you can figure it out. Venus is the bright one. Jupiter apparently is just before sunrise now, and Venus and Jupiter are going to be coming closer and closer together in the next week or a couple days or something like that. Anyway, I've got just about enough food to last to Ridgecrest if I'm careful. And I wake up, that's probably why I woke up so early. I'm hungry because I didn't eat very much last night. I thought I had a lot more, but that was a week ago. So, oops. I think what happened is I got spoiled because every town has a dollar store. Well, the towns around Death Valley are further apart. So, yeah. Anyway, so I had no trouble getting water down at the park station or ranger station, but the little general store they had down there was heavy on souvenirs and light on actual food. So I grabbed a few Snickers bars. Well, I ended up eating 2 of them on the way home, so that didn't really help. It's kind of weird getting your head around it when you get used to everything working, and then you're going to just abandon 3/4 of your stuff and go with the other quarter kind of thing. Like, the phone normally is charged off of the solar system. Well, I'm not taking the trailer, so that means the phone isn't going to get charged. So, yeah, that kind of thing, right? Quick break halfway up the hill. Halfway, but actually not quite. Apparently the elevation at the top is 4,900 feet and change, so closer to 5,000. We just crossed 2,000, about a corner back, and this is the it's marked as a ranger station, but I don't think it's actually manned. Of note, a tree, a bigger tree. It's worth something. A very big tree. Got a couple trash cans that I'll drop my trash into. Okay, so here's a good map. We are here. So we're here. Stovepipe is here. I'm camped just a little bit down from here. And up here is the summit. That's about 8 miles from here and almost 3,000 feet still. I'm going to turn here, but this is marked as a town with a store and camping. So I might stop there and get something to eat. And then we're going to go all the way down. Here's Trona, the next store, and here's Ridgecrest. So we got a ways to go yet. Furnace Creek is where I stopped and got water the last time. And I came into the park here, and this is Death Valley Junction. And the state line is on the other side of here, so it's about here, I think. Yeah. Okay. Oh, China Lake Naval Weapons Center. And Ridgecrest and Edwards is down here somewhere. I should probably get a shot of this. I didn't get any pictures coming through the sand dunes. So there is sand dunes. That's where all that dust came from, I think. Anyway, right there, next to, on the men's side, is a water faucet. It seems like good water. It's not marked boil or anything like that, and I just drank some. It tastes good, so I think they're probably hauling it in, more than likely. Okay, alright, I wanted to get a shot of this on the other side. This is pretty cool. If you want to read this, I'll try to get a close-up of it. Okay, so I'll start with this guy here. This is at this building. Hopefully that'll be readable. Actually, let me get a screenshot of that, or a picture. Okay, to summarize, Stan Jones was a park ranger in Death Valley from 1946 to 48. Jones and his wife Olive lived in this CCC-built stone cabin. CCC is the Civilian Conservation Corps, created by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Anyway, while living in this cabin, he wrote the song Ghost Riders in the Sky. Vaughn Monroe, Johnny Cash, and many other popular artists have recorded Ghost Riders, one of our nation's most enduring cowboy ballads. Stan Jones' songs are also used in several films, including Wagon Master and Rio Grande, both westerns directed in the 1950s by John Ford. Okay, so that, here's some of the guys that were working up here in the work camps. That's this cabin. Coming into Death Valley, I never actually stopped. There is a huge inn that's got the same construction style, and the same crews built the inn as built this. So it's closed and locked and everything. This was originally used as the ranger station. This is pretty cool. Still see inside. There's a sink and stuff. Very cool. Picnic table. Yeah, this would be nicely built. Okay, my goal for the moment was to sit still here, drink at least a liter of water before I go back into riding mode, and top off all my water. Also, for coming back, reminder, there is water here. So, and now that I know where that other town is, that didn't show up on GPS for some reason. So, get to here, I'm gonna be freaking tired by the time I get to it, but the last couple miles will be downhill. Stop here, top off water, and then drop another 1,000 feet to where my camp is. So, had I known water was here, this would have been closer. Maybe not necessarily easier, but closer to my camp than going downhill. So, anyway, the road. Oh yeah, and the sun is just up. It's a little bit cloudy, and it's 10 after 7, so I got a pretty good start. Well, I have seriously met my match here today. I just crossed 4,000 feet. It's a little rise, and then it actually drops down and then climbs back up again. And we got to hit 4,900 feet. So I got about 1,000 feet to go. It is 10 o'clock, and I left at 6 o'clock, just a little bit before. So I got 4 hours into, actually 3,000 feet. Sorry, I got a bug trying to attack me. I was over 1,000 feet at the campsite. I've had a few times where I stopped for a full 15-minute break. And I've been walking a lot of this. Most of it lately is just too steep to ride the bike on. And this is no trailer. All I've got for a load is my backpack with some of the extra water. I've been purposely drinking more water just to lighten the load a little bit, and I'm sweating most of it out. So I'm starting to catch up with water, I think, because the last couple days I really was running low on water. So, which is not ideal. You know, I should have been drinking a lot of water yesterday to get hydrated for today, but I just didn't want to take a chance on running out. So, anyhow, yeah, I'll take a 15-minute break, go to get back on the bike, pedal 50 feet, and like, I'm done. I want to stop for again, you know. So the last break, I drank a Coke, ate my last Snickers, and half of a Cliff Bar. That actually feels better. I felt like I got some energy out of that. Not a lot, but it's something. So that's the other thing is, I just don't have the calories right now to do this. So wave at the motorcycles going by. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up on this ride. It's like, I see people shaking their head. That idiot, what's he doing? Yeah, it's exactly like that. Okay, so this counts as my break, I guess. So 10 o'clock, a little bit after, we just hit 4,000 feet. And we're only about, I think, 7 miles from the campsite. Yeah, it's been, what's that work out to? 7 miles and 3,000 feet, because I was at 1,000 feet. Yeah, it's a steep road, steep road. So, you know, if I was starting off fresh on a good day, I could probably ride a mile of this without stopping, right? But I'm not in good enough shape to sit here and just blast all the way up, right? And we went from sea level a couple days ago up to 4,000 or 5,000 feet. So now I got used to sea level again. So now the air feels really thin. Yeah. Okay, I see a little downhill, so I'm gonna have fun there, and then I'll probably die on the other side. Yay. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. I hit the summit. Oops. 49:56 in case that doesn't show up. So 11 o'clock, it was just before 6 o'clock when I left camp.
So I picked up about 4,000 feet because I was around 1,000 foot at the camp. Oh man. I think the last 1,000 feet, the top 1,000 feet, is a little bit easier. It starts to kind of gradually get a little bit leveler or less awful or whatever, for whatever that's worth. So now we get to go right back down the other side, and then when I get the part fixed, come back up and down again, get the trailer, and do it again. So I just want to remember 5 hours this time, no electrics, that's the thing. No trailer, no electrics, no battery, no solar. So, yeah. I was wondering the last couple weeks, it felt like maybe I was starting to rely on the electrics too much. Like I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I could some days. So this is kind of a reminder that, yeah, I probably have, it's like, I guess the reason I'm saying that is I'm going to have ridden, it must be over a month already, but I'm not necessarily in that much better shape because I'm not pushing my legs hard enough. So I do need to focus on that more. I have done that a few times in the past where if I was having a good day, I'd push myself a little bit harder and, you know, do it for like an hour and then slack off again just to build up a little more muscle. But the hard thing is I'm not eating good enough, you know, for doing sustained energy like this. I need to feed myself more and better, so I got to work on that part. Okay, no sense resting now. I don't need to recharge the battery. And we're going downhill, so just jump right on. I can coast and rest. Okay, I got a GPS mark this. I know where it is. Okay. Okay, quick update. I am 10 miles from the campsite. It took me 5 hours to do 10 miles. I thought I was doing about 2 miles an hour for a lot of that, but that's counting the brakes. Okay. It is what it is. It's probably a little bit further, but that's 10 miles straight line. But same diff. So approximately 4,000 feet in 10 miles. Right? Holy cow. Okay, downhill. All right, about 11:30. Highway 190 coming out of Death Valley National Park towards Ridgecrest, and I don't remember the name of the town that's just below me here. Anyway, I just got to put a heads up here. This road is incredibly steep. The sign said 9%. Okay, that's crazy. And I mean, looking down, I don't know if it shows how steep it is, but I think the road I came up out of Death Valley was between 6 and 9, or 4 and 6 or something. So this makes the same drop faster. Okay. So this would be one of those things where, like coming out of Death Valley, there was a sign, don't run your air conditioner for the next 22 miles kind of thing. This is kind of it. So if you're thinking about coming this way, it's going to be a steep hill. Just take your time. And if you're on a bike, oh man, right? I'm stopping to let my brakes cool down on the bicycle, and I don't even have the trailer. So when I come out of here with the trailer, what I'm thinking is carry enough water to get up the hill and not much extra. And maybe if I have extra water, dump it at the top and just like have 1 liter coming down so I don't have so much extra weight. And then at the bottom, there's a little store and stuff, so I'll restock down there. But it's like, I didn't really appreciate how steep this was going to be. So anyway, heads up. Check your brakes. This feels like we're in an airplane looking down at the valley. I'm just mind blown how steep this road is coming down here. I mean, in your car you just gear down and not think much of it. My hands are getting tired from braking. And I'm trying not to put too much heat into the tires. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do coming down with the trailer. Probably walk it down. I think that's the road I take. The dry lake bed. Wow, I had to stop and rest my hands. Getting tired from yanking on the brakes hard. Well, I've come to a decision. I cannot ride down this hill with just the bike and no trailer. I'm walking most of this hill. I was generating too much heat into the tires, into the wheels from braking. So there's no way I can bring the trailer down here with the full load. I mean, it's awkward enough walking just the bike, but walking with the trailer for several miles, plus I'd have to get up the hill. So yeah, I'm back to looking at probably getting a rental, like a U-Haul, to haul the trailer and the bike back into town. Sure is pretty here though. I've still got a few miles going down. This is brutal. It took me 2 hours to get down the hill. Oh man. So I just rode across the dry lake bed there. Yeah, holy cow, look at that hill going up. That's what we came down. But it's got gas and food, so I know I'm not going to make it to Trona, but 44 miles to the next place that I think has a mini mart in Trona. So I'm going to stock up with what I can here, and if they got something to eat, I'm going to eat. It's about lunchtime. Alright, giddy up, go. Well, this is definitely something I never thought I would try. So I'm sitting here at the Panamint Resort, which has a wonderful general store over there, awesome hamburgers and beer over there, campsite, glamping, and then normal tents and RV park and hookups, and I think there's even a Tesla charging station over there. Oh, and cabins. So, and a bicycle. Oh man. Okay, so let me get into the luxury accommodations here. Oops. Right. Okay. I've already taken a shower. That was the first thing. Oh man. Not the world's fanciest shower, but it was definitely warm and much appreciated. When I first checked in, apparently this site or this tent had not been checked out, or at least wasn't marked as checked out. But so I'm like, all right, so I kind of just chilled out. But while I was waiting, I took a shower. So they got these anchored down to a concrete slab, so it should be okay. But while I was waiting, I could see it just flapping around in the wind, which is my primary reason for not doing a tent in general, but tarps and tents and everything. But it has a bed. That's kind of nice. So the situation is, I finally got out of Death Valley, but I had to leave the trailer at the campsite that I was at. So I don't have my sleeping bag, I don't have my cot, I don't have my solar panels, so I pedaled. This was just flat out brutal. Hang on. Okay, that's gonna be weird lighting. Yeah, So coming out of Death Valley, okay, let me start with the fact that I did not do any research on Death Valley at all, which is kind of an important thing. If you're going to bicycle through Death Valley, you should maybe just know the lay of the land, literally. As it was, I came through the wrong... Well, I had kind of roughly planned my route a couple weeks back, and then I missed my exit. So I came through the long way through the valley, not... I was just going to go sideways through the valley, which worked out great. I don't really regret that. I got to see more of it and got the whole experience. And then coming out of the valley is when I realized that my trailer hitch was broken. So I just found a spot and camped, and then left the trailer at that campsite. So the way it worked out, in case somebody's, I just uploaded like 3 videos this afternoon. So for anybody who is missing videos, they're up now. Today's the 30th, and I'll get this video up because I got Wi-Fi here. So it's about 5 in the afternoon, 4:45. So I had not planned on stopping here. In fact, I didn't know if this was a place until just before leaving the park. I happened to see it on the map as a place listed as had camping, had a restaurant, general store. So I'm like, okay. Also, coming out of the park at the about the 2,000 foot level, I think, because like you're starting off, Death Valley itself is below sea level, and they marked sea level, which is Stovepipe Wells is at about sea level, and then I was camped a little above 1,000 feet. There's a park ranger station, but that's not manned apparently. That's at about 2,000 feet. There was water there, so you can fill up your water jug. So that's worth knowing. I didn't know that. So when I stayed at the campsite for 2 days. The first day I was just exhausted, so I rested and didn't do anything. Laid on the cot and snoozed pretty much all day, off and on. Get up, move the cot, find some more shade under another bush, fall back asleep. I was just wiped out. And then the next day I rode down to Stovepipe Wells again, so back down the hill. Came up with like 2.5 gallons of water. I left a gallon with the trailer so that when I go back to recover the trailer, I would have water there just in case. And then it turns out I didn't really need that because there's water coming in, so I'll be able to top off my water going in. Okay, fast forward a little bit. Getting to here, oh man, today's ride, I left an hour before sunset. It was about 5:45 when I left the camp. It took me until 11 o'clock to hit the summit. The summit is 4,900 and some feet. Okay. I averaged something like 2 miles an hour coming out. It was a pretty serious grind. The disappointing part, no trailer, so I should have been lighter, but no solar, no batteries, no motor. I mean, I had the motor, but no power. So I'm pedaling this bike, just straight pedaling, and had no electric assist. Okay. Coming up, okay, there was a good section of it that I just walked. You know, there would be a while where I'd walk a little bit and then ride a little bit, and pretty soon I was just, no, I'm done. I'm just gonna just walk. I walked 1.5 miles or something like that of it. And it's like I get to the top, and I think it was only 10 miles from where I camped. So I climbed around 4,000 feet in 10 miles. It was pretty steep. Okay, get to the top. I'm like, okay, great, I can make up some time. Coming down, it's 9% grade, right? It is insane. It's just super fast drop. So I was drag and brake all the way down. I got to the point, I stopped, checked the wheel, the back wheel, because I got the side pulls on the back and disc on the front. And I've already ruined one rear wheel from braking, you know. So I don't have the trailer, so I'm like, okay, it should be better. Well, it was, but the back wheel was so hot I couldn't touch it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, stop and cool it off for a while. And I tried it a couple times, and It's like you can't just, I mean, I don't want to come down the hill 400 miles an hour. I'm like, okay, at this point, because I'm out here by myself and I'm on this long trip, I got to just play it super conservative. There's, I can't break any more wheels. I can't, get hurt kind of thing. So I was like, all right, got to the point. I was like, no, I can't brake enough without overheating the wheel coming down that hill. So I walked it coming down. It took me 2 hours to come down, which, considering it took me 5 hours to go up, you'd think coming down would be a whole lot easier, but it really wasn't. And that works out a whole nother set of muscles in your legs walking down the hill. In fact, walking down the hill with just the bike and as much water as I could carry, I was dragging the brakes coming down, and I was dragging the brakes enough that it was actually locking up the back wheel coming down the hill, or else if I let off the brakes, the bike would want to run off without me. So it's pretty steep. Everybody I saw going by, there was nobody going fast up or down on the road. Everybody was taking it pretty serious. I mean, even the motorcycles were slowed down. So it's a pretty good hill. So if you're thinking of going up there, enjoy it, but slow down. Yeah. And probably not on a bicycle. And what I finally got my head around is, like, even with the new back wheel and the new brake pads, which are phenomenal, it's not common to go 7 or 8 miles down a 9% hill. The brakes just aren't made for that. So, yeah. Just kind of get your head around that one, right? Anyway, so I'm coming down. I finally get to the bottom. Come across, there's a dry lake bed here. And this is, okay, so I said before, we are at the, how to try to get this right, the Panamint Springs Resort, I guess is what they're calling it. I'm looking at the sign, yeah, there we go. Panamint Springs Resort. I knew I'd seen it. It's on here. Okay. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, I knew there was a gas station. So usually if there's a gas station, there's a place you can buy a Pepsi or something like that. So that was my plan, is just to stock up a little bit more, because I drank 3 liters of water coming over the hill or something like that. And the last couple of days I've been really dehydrated, because I'm just trying to save all the water I had, because I had to go all the way down the hill to get more water. So I'm like, you could drink most of your water getting back up the hill, right? So I'm like just super conserving. So then I came into today kind of dehydrated. So once I started on the ride, I'm like, okay, I've got the water, I can drink the water. And then I got to the first ranger station and realized I could fill up again. So I sat there, drank a whole liter on the spot, refilled that, right? So now I'm doing pretty good on water again. So when I get to here, I'm just thinking, okay, restock, get some more Gatorades, get a Coke, Cliff Bars or whatever I can find, and then hit the road. And my plan was to get as far towards Ridgecrest as I could. But I was just about cooked time I got here. I mean, between going up and down the hill, having to walk a lot of it, and I think it was probably 1:30 when I got here. So I didn't have a lot of time left I had a few hours before sunset. And since I don't have solar on the bike, my plan was I could keep riding and not stop at 4:30 if I was able to, if physically I could. But, normally when I have the bike with solar, I'll stop about 4:30, park it so that the panels are aimed at the sun, and let the battery top off as much as I can. Well, now, I could have ridden into the night if I wanted to. I don't have any lights, but because the battery is on the trailer, I've got lights, but I can't use them. And I can't charge the phone, which is another detail. Okay, so anyway, I get here and I think about it. My brain is pretty much scrambled, and I'm like, okay, I walked in, grabbed a Coke, and while I'm checking out I'm like, let me sit out in the shade, drink a Coke, and get my brain kind of rebooted. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, as the guy's ringing me up, I'm like, how much are rooms and what do you got? And so he starts rattling stuff off, and I'm like, okay. On the one hand, a motel room would have been nice, but I think it was like $200. I'm like, okay, that's out of the budget for now, considering I was planning on keeping riding. And on the other end, this tent was 65, but there's a shower right there. And it was warm, hot, wet, great, right? And I only brought like one pair of clean underwear and one pair of socks because I'm like, I don't have the trailer, so I'm trying to keep it as light as possible, right? So while I'm in the shower, I rinse off my shirt, rinse the bike shorts out. I put clean underwear and socks on, rinse the old underwear out so I can put them in the bag for the next day or something like that when I get into town, right? Thought that would be nice. Meantime, I got a whole bag full of dirty laundry on the trailer, but I'm like, I was just max weight, and that hill was way more than I expected. I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't know how bad. You kind of like, in your head, it's like, okay, hill will be bad, and just leave it at that. Try not to psych yourself out. So, yeah, anyway. So, I'm like, all right, this will be great. Because at first I was going to do a tent site. Then I'm like, I don't even have a tent. And that's kind of what pushed me over the edge to stay here. Is like, I brought sweatpants, sweatshirt to sleep in the desert. I mean, at least when I had the army cot, I was up off the ground. But I was like, well, what are your options? I'm not going to carry the sleeping bag. Too heavy, too bulky. You know, I'm not set up. I don't have racks on the bike to haul stuff. That's what the trailer was for. So, yeah, when it was funny, when I got my head around it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This looks like a really good, smart thing to do. So, since I had to wait for them to make sure the tent was ready, I'm like, all right, I took the shower first, then I went over. It was like this shirt dries super fast, so I literally wrung it out, held it up in the wind for 5 minutes, put it on. It felt really good being wet, and by the time I was sitting down to eat, it was dry. It's like, yeah, you gotta love the desert for that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Oh, what was the other funny thing? Go to the shower. I didn't bring soap or anything or a towel, right? So I'm like, all right. I just rinsed off at first, and I thought about it. I looked out. Oh, I'm right next to the sink with a little push button for the soap. So I grabbed a whole handful of soap and went in and lathered up with that. I'm like, that works pretty good. So felt much cleaner. But oh man, the blackness again coming off of my legs. That's the most unexpected thing of this trip, I think. You know, from that point of view, it's like, yeah, sure, you're sweaty and you're dirty, but my legs are just black from all the road and tire grime coming up. And when you're riding, you're sweating, and everything just sticks to you. And you look at your legs after a few days between showers, and it's just awful. So it definitely feels good to be cleaner. Even 3 shades cleaner without a towel and without soap was still a huge improvement. So yeah. Anyway, so today's Saturday. My plan has been to push through to Ridgecrest, and okay, so this was the last change. I thought about this, and then I changed my mind, and then I'm changing it back again. The first plan was to just get to Ridgecrest, get a rental van, go back and recover the trailer because it's just sitting out there. It's not visible from the road, but if anybody drives down that side road to a campsite, they'll see it, right? And hopefully people will leave stuff alone. Generally, campers are pretty good, right? And you'll see this quite a bit. You'll leave your camper parked or your tent set up, and then you jump in the Jeep and go out four-wheeling all day and come back and your stuff is still there. It's not a big deal. So I think it'll be okay. But, man, it would sure suck. I mean, if they're going to steal it, I hope they do it before I fix it. But still, all of my solar panels and batteries and everything are on there, so we'll just hope it's still there. Okay. So then I realized when I took things apart, the broken part is still on the bike. The trailer is still okay. It's the hitch. So the part of the hitch that is on the bike was what's broken. So I got to thinking, if I just rode the bike to Ridgecrest, figured 2 days, it's about 90 miles, I could get that part fixed and go back and get the trailer. Okay, so then I wouldn't have to deal with renting a van. So this seemed like a good idea. Well, after coming over the hill, I couldn't come over the hill. Going up, I had to walk. Although I think with the solar and the electric, I could do better. So I was kind of like optimistic about that. It's like, well, it wouldn't be much worse, is what I had learned earlier. Is when I rode down, this is on the other video that just got published, riding down to Stovepipe Wells without the trailer and without solar. So I'd done it once each way. So I rode up the hill once with solar and trailer and once without, with just the bike. And honestly, I think the weight of the solar versus the power it produces almost was a wash. So as long as you had some sun and some battery, the trailer offsets its own weight pretty close. If it's a cloudy day or if you don't have any sun, then it's just dead weight and it becomes unbearable. That's really bad. But if you can ride and if you got sun, that's actually pretty good. Okay. So I'm like, I could probably get up the hill. You know, I'd kind of been planning it out. It's like, okay, if I stopped at every 1,000 feet of elevation and just sat there for an hour and let the batteries recharge, fine. I wasn't in a hurry at that point, right? So if I go back and get the trailer, that would be the option. However, it's going to be 2 days to Ridgecrest, 2 days back, get the trailer, and then basically go past Ridgecrest again anyway. Okay. So the more I think about it, if I can get a van, that makes a lot more sense. And just drive back, get it. You know, I could be there and back in a day, pretty easy. So I'm thinking, all right, I might spend a little bit of time in the morning on Monday. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to bike to Ridgecrest tomorrow. Check into like a Motel 6. Then Monday morning, try to find a guy with a welder and find a rental van. And there's Enterprise and U-Haul and Penske are all in Ridgecrest, so I shouldn't have any trouble finding those. And I got to think any mechanic shop, you know, with a welder or body shop could handle this. So then it's just a matter of finding one. So, yeah. But if I could leave the part, rent the van, go up, get the trailer, come back, and then the part would be finished. And then if the guy's got time, this is what I'm hoping is the reason the trailer hitch is breaking is because I can't get the trailer to stand up by itself. And so I'm I'm laying it down on the ground, or I'm trying to lean it on a rock, and it puts a weird side twisting motion on the hitch that it wasn't designed for. If the trailer stands up and can run down the road, that hitch would probably last another 10,000 miles. It's when I keep knocking the bike over, or the wind blows it over, or I can't find something to lean it against. The parking sticks that I made aren't really working. And I basically gave up on them, so I tried to gently lay the bike down. Well, if I got one hand on the bike and one hand on the trailer, it goes all wompy, and then that hitch is just getting twisted. So it did finally break, and that's the weakest point. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's taking a load that it was never made to take, and I hadn't expected that to be the problem. So, yeah, that's why we test. But if I can get it, what I'm thinking is if I can get the guy to help me make, you know, if I had a bracket that I could put the parking stick on or something, you know, or see if we can come up with something better. So this might be a chance to make an improvement. The other thing is, now that I've definitely found the weak link and the fact that my load is such a problem, spend some time and probably go to the post office, get some boxes, and just sit there, you know, especially if I got a motel, I might get it for a couple days. Just go through all of my stuff. Okay, I've got thermal underwear. I don't need that anymore. If I need it, I can buy it later. You know, I'm not going to need it anymore. It's going to be May here in a couple days. I'm in California, so, you know, between the sweats and the sleeping bag, I don't need thermal underwears anymore. So that kind of thing. I've got a little stove and a little pot to heat up water. Never once used it. Never had water to heat up. Really? I got 2 different water filters. almost none of the places I've been have had any water, so I can't filter any water. So I end up buying bottled water when I can, so I don't need the water filters. You know, it's going to be probably, now that I'm in California, I will find places that have water. I mean, you know, lakes and stuff that I could possibly filter water if I needed to, but I've ridden through the desert for the last 6 states. There hasn't been any water to filter. So why am I carrying the stupid water filter? It just makes more sense to go to the dollar store and for $1.50 or whatever, buy a gallon of water once in a while and, you know, go that way. So, and then all my tools, see what I can let go of, what haven't I needed, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah. So I can probably get rid of a whole backpack worth of stuff, I think, without too much trouble. And then when I get to the actual sun trip, hopefully I can. A couple of the participants actually live there, so they had mentioned, you know, if you wanted to drop stuff off while we're on the race kind of thing. So I'm thinking when we do the race, I can let go of a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't need for a week and then pick it up on the way out again. And we're going to be camping in campsites pretty much the whole race, it looks like. And so, you know, it won't be like wild camping like what I'm doing now, so I can probably take less stuff because there will be a spot to camp and I don't have to hide in the ditch or something like that. So yeah, that sounds like an improvement. It's weird being inside something. I'm probably going to be really confused when I wake up. I might have to sleep outside on the picnic table, but this seemed like a pretty good option compared to sleeping in my sweats out in the blowing sand. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, thinking about it, I'm like, this seemed like a lot better option than trying to ride any further. So it's still, I think, 65 miles to Ridgecrest. But if I do like I did this morning, if I can hit the road at first light and hope for favorable winds, that's the other thing, is by the time I came down through the pass, that's when I realized I was probably going to have a headwind going towards Ridgecrest, and that probably sealed the deal. I'm like, I think I'm done. And I was starving. A week ago, I had a full box of Cliff Bars, so I thought I had plenty of food. Turns out I didn't have as much as I thought I did, so then I'm rationing water and rationing food the last couple days, so I didn't know if I could buy anything here. So I'm like, okay, how far can I push the last 5 Cliff Bars? And I had 2 Snickers bars left. So I ate the 2 Snickers bars today. And I'm like, I was pretty much calorie deficient the last couple days. So, because I was trying to save what I had for this trip. Once I got to Ridgecrest, I'd be able to restock. But it wasn't clear if there was anything in between. And I had terrible cell coverage in the park, so I couldn't look anything up. So, yeah, it's kind of... Well, that's kind of the essence of bike camping. How much can you carry? You can't just have 3 weeks of groceries, and, you know, it changes how you look at things. This whole trip has really changed how you look at things. So, anyway, since I'm here, gonna enjoy it. Probably going to go back and eat some more. I had a late lunch, so I'm thinking I'll rest for a minute and I'll get this video ready to upload. They've got really good internet over there. I think I've got Wi-Fi here, but it sounded like they had Starlink in the restaurant. So the last 3 videos that I uploaded went pretty quick. So go over there and enjoy civilization for a little while. Yeah. Just waiting to see if this place actually falls apart. That would be something. Okay, as always, thanks for all your support and thanks for following along. And remember, check in on your veteran friends. You know, don't let them go off and ride their bike through the desert without enough snacks. We have great ideas. We're not always the brightest, but
like I have been reminded a few times, my mind is my primary weapon. As long as you can keep your head straight, your body will follow. And it's just flat out amazing every time I do something like this that I'm able to. You know, there's been days where if I had a big red button that says push this to go home, I probably would have. But that wouldn't complete the mission. And if I went home, that's 1,000 miles to home, so might as well keep going at that point. So we'll get the bike fixed and we'll be back on the road in a couple days, hopefully. Yeah. What's the last thing? I think I'm within 500 miles of San Francisco now, so we're already way past halfway. Just a few hills between here and there. All right. Bye for now.